Welcome back to All About Arsenal. And today we're going to have what has become our tradition on Sunday evenings. I'm very grateful for those that have made this part of their Sunday routines, where at the end of each game week, we take some time out, just look at each of the fixtures. I and my panelists sit down together and we just cook pretty much. We're going to have a stacked panelists today. We've got they are still coming around. But right now we have Ibuka, the United critic, online. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. Good. Yeah, another day, another round of Premier League action. Yes, there's still going to be one for tomorrow, which is the United game. But yeah, all in all, yeah, some unexpected results, some results that we expected. But yeah, let's do this.
All right, boss. So as always, we'll go through our agenda where we talk about first of all the Arsenal match review. Then we look at our title rivals. Right now the only two teams that are in the title rivals slides, which is Chelsea and Man City. On request of the likes of Ibuka and other guys, we've taken Liverpool out of that list
Yeah,
because we feel that they don't deserve to be in that position anymore, despite being the defending champions. So Liverpool and the rest of the peasants are actually in the other key results. Where we look at how they fared, obviously things are going to be this well for them. We look at our surprise of the week. As always, with me and the panelists, we just see how what surprised them in the week. Then of course we'll look at the injury watch, see how the folks that are playing for their teams and how their injuries have come to affect them. And of course, we'll take a look at the Premier League table. My personal favorite. We'll go through the Game Week 17 predictions. But so far, so good. How has it been, Ebuka, in terms of what you've seen in the Premier League?
Oh, well, I would say this, like I mentioned, right? The title race is kind of like heating up. Um, the men are being separated from the boys when it comes to the title race. Yeah, some results today where I was kind of like, oh, okay, so it's kind of like unforeseen results, right? But yeah, I think it's kind of like straight up. You have Arsenal, you have City, you have Villa right up there, and then you have the rest.
Awesome, awesome. So we have a couple of folks on the chat, and of course, we have our good True Gunner, saying hi. Always good to have you around, bro. Thanks for being part of today's show. TG is an inspiration to me, 20K subscribers and counting, several nominations for, best channel and whatnot. So it's always good to see him on the chat. So as always, we have Rory in the building. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good. I've been forget about this game, but I guess I'll run over it again. Although, to be fair, I'm not really given the viewers my general thoughts on the game, really. So, it's going to be interesting because my match reaction was like 40 seconds. So, I sincerely apologise to my viewers for wasting 40 seconds of their precious time because, I barely reviewed the game really because I just wanted to go to bed. So, yeah, appreciate the invite again from my bro, and I'm sure it's going to be another lit show.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. So obviously we're going to start with the Arsenal match review. This was a game that we basically had to dig in at the very end to get a result. Well, I think I'll start with you on, Rory on this one. How was the starting lineup to you? Do you feel that squad was good enough to get a routine win against Wolverhampton? And obviously, when the game started, how did that pan out?
Hey mate, are you there? I don't know.
Rory, did you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
I think
Wait,
it's
I
having.
thought
I
you
think it's
said
having.
I was going last. Oh, am I going?
No,
Am
no,
I
no. I
going
said I was going to
first,
start
right?
with you. Yes, you're
Oh
going
yeah,
first.
I can hear you. Yeah. Wait, hold on. Am I going first or am I going last? Just.
You're actually going first, bro.
Oh, I'm going first. I thought you said I was going last. Okay, fair enough. um, Jesus Christ. I tell you what, let's just get it out the way, right? That was absolutely shambolic. I think, to be honest with you, I've seen Arsenal play better when we've dropped points this season than we did on Saturday. And although I predicted 4-0 Arsenal before the game, I did have that apprehensiveness that it wasn't going to be plain sailing. Arsenal will somehow make it stressful. And I get you're not going to have, comfortable victories every single week. That's fine. But this has been like a continuation, really. In the last 3 or 4 weeks or so, Chelsea, shit performance. Villa, shit performance. Wolves, I know we won, but shit performance. So it's becoming concerning in terms of the performances and the fact, City are now 2 points behind us. Yeah, you could tell that most players, including the manager, were pissed off with that. So I think that's one of the positives I can take, is the fact we're not over-exaggerating when it comes to winning this game in the 94th minute. Like, that should not be the case. They scored 3 goals and they still lost the game. So, fair play to Wolves. They managed to stay in the game for a long period of time. But the same, every single time, Arsenal, the only team in this league that can make arguably the worst defence in the league so far this season look like prime AC Milan defensively. Because this, U-shaped crab foot just drives me insane. We never play it centrally. It's always down the flanks. We rely on Saka to put a decent ball in. And, if that doesn't work out, then, I don't know what to say. I mean, the lineup, for starters, was our strongest team, but, I don't mind rotation here and there, although we didn't rotate many positions, but at least play the players in the correct fucking position for a start. Why did we have 2 right-backs on the pitch against Wolves? Why did we have a double pivot when Zubimendi played 90 minutes, bro? 90 minutes against Bruges. So you thought, well, hold on a minute. He could actually get rested for the weekend. Right? Where's Norgard? This smart business gimmick, he's not even trusted at home against bloody Wolves. That's your signing for £18 million. And it's not even starting against bottom of the league. So what does that say about that signing if he's not at least resting Zubimendi for someone like Norgard, who played centre-half? So it seems like he's more trusted at centre-half than he is in midfield. So I don't get that personally. We obviously had Hincapié at left back. We had Timber at centre half, it seems like, to then accommodate Saliba as the left centre back. Why have we got Hincapié at left back when Lewis Skelly was on the bench? And then Saliba at left centre back. He's never really played left centre back for Arsenal. So why on earth is he playing there? I don't get it. With Hincapié at left back as well, and then Eze as the 10. I think I've established already that when the game is open, Eze is better suited for that number 10 role. So he plays 10 on Saturday, when that's where he should have played at Villa, if you ask me. But for me, in this sort of game, he should have been the left winger. Right? I've seen time and time again that Martinelli cannot cut the mustard against low blocks. So you either play Odegaard as the attacking midfielder and then Eze as the left winger, or you drop one of the DMs and go Eze and Odegaard in midfield. And then if you want to go over Trossard or Martinelli on the left, you can do. But Eze on Saturday was so poor to a point where him and Odegaard were fighting for pretty much who was worse in that position in both halves. Like, I don't know. I think the only players that can come out of that pitch with their head held high, probably Saka, because, like, again, he created both goals. I feel for him that he didn't get any GA from it because both of them were own goals. I would probably say Jesus and then Trossard and then Lewis Skelly when he came on, who I thought played well. Apart from that, I can't say anyone who stood out. And look, we still won the game. Fantastic. And, you know, we showed some minerals towards the end. But as I said earlier, these performances cannot carry on because it's been 3 weeks in a row now where we've obviously not beaten Chelsea, Villa, and then we made an absolute... I mean, trust me, if we would have dropped points, the fact I already want to forget about this game already. Can you imagine if we drop points? I don't think I'll be on the show tonight. I think I would have just... Bro, trust me, I think my sister would be on here instead. And I'll be taking DNA tests. I'll be changing my name to Andy and shit. I wouldn't be on here. So, listen. I mean, fair play for, you know, showing something at the end. But that was embarrassing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree.
We do need a reaction against Everton because the thing is, right, against Everton next week, Man City play before us. So they have the opportunity to go above us before we eventually play. If we don't beat Everton, I don't see us coming back from that. So, Listen, it was a dreadful performance, probably the worst we played all season, but we'll have to take the 3 points. And I think, you know, you got to have a word on Gyökeres, don't you? Because at the same time, right, of me still trusting Gyökeres, and I'm not going to give up on him yet, he's not making it easy. That's for sure. He's just not. However, I still stand by that he's not going to turn crap overnight. There's no way. You don't go from 100 goals in one season, or in 2 seasons, sorry, and then the next season you turn absolute pony like you've got some sort of toolbox attached to him, because that's the way he's playing at this moment in time. So there's no way that can't be happening. And if it isn't the system, then surely the rest of the attacking players should be flourishing, right? Has Eze ripped up any trees since the hat-trick at Spurs? Has Saka ripped up any trees lately? No. Has Martinelli suddenly gone from the form in the Champions League to then absolutely abysmal in the Premier League? I mean, is that the system? Or are all these players just crap? Because if the rest of the players were flourishing, if Saka was on form, Eze was on form, Martinelli was on form, etc., then fair enough. You get to look at Gyökeres and go, ooh, what are you offering, mate? But it's everyone in attack. Who has Arteta got the best out of? Like, in this forward line, apart from Saka over the years. He couldn't even get the best out of Aubameyang. And he's the only reason why he's still in the flipping job.
The FA Cup, yeah?
So, like, for me, we really need to start grinding into gear, because if not, Man City are going to walk this league second half of the season, because we've just, again, not been consistent so far this season. We can't win a big game to save our life, and we made an absolute nearly made a mockery of dropping points to Wolves, but that's just me.
Okay, awesome rant. So, Ebuka, let's isolate some things, yeah? Starting with the Gyökeres situation. So we have Gabriel Jesus back, obviously against Club Brugge, showed a couple of touches, hit the crossbar. And when he came on as a sub for Gyökeres, even in the Wolves game, the impact was different because the pressure that he actually put on Mosquera, yes, in Mosquera, that led to the own goal. So, at what point do you think Gyökeres is going to lose his place in Jesus? Or do you think we should still keep managing him very well? Because I feel that Ben White suffered that injury because of the amount of minutes that he had played in recent times. Four starts in 10 days, and of course he has suffered a hamstring injury. So should we take what has happened with White and take the whole Gabriel Jesus coming back from injury and see how that matches alongside your career? What's your thought on that spearheading Arsenal's attack? You remember that Kai Havertz is still back as well.
Yeah. First of all, I have to say my stance on the Portuguese league and Dutch leagues. I don't consider them top tier leagues. We've had moments, or we've seen in the past, where strikers are purchased from the Portuguese league and they simply can't adapt in the Premier League. You had Darwin Nunes, you had Fabio Silva, you had as Jackson Martinez who went to La Liga. You had so many Portuguese strikers you had Andre Silva, or was it Andre Silva or Rafa Silva? One of them. So many very good talented strikers in the Portuguese league, but then when they leave the Portuguese league, they just can't click. Yeah, coming to your careers, right? I would say from the moment he went 5 games in the Premier League without scoring, that was the moment I would have, hey, like, you know what? Yeah, go right there on the bench. Because I think his current record reads 3 goals in his last 14 appearances. If I'm not mistaken, 3 in his last 14 for club.
Yeah.
And if you include country, that makes it, I think, 3 in 16.
Yeah.
I mean, for a striker who was purchased for that amount, who was known to score goals in the Portuguese league, coming to the Premier League and finding it difficult, was something I kind of like envisaged. I saw it. As in, I said it that, yeah, I'm a United fan. When United were going for Gyökeres, I said, no way, I didn't want Gyökeres. That I wanted, like, Šeško is the better product. And sometimes I just look at what Gyökeres is playing and what Šeško is playing, and I'm like, if Šeško was at Arsenal, bro, it's all over, man. It's all over. I'm telling you. So going forward, I think, yeah, Gyökeres should be on the bench. Whenever he's in games, Arsenal kind of like finds it a little bit difficult to break teams down, and he looks sometimes just a yard off the pace in the Premier League. But then when Gabriel Jesus came on yesterday, you could see, yes, he was in right into it. You could see, as in, he was like mano a mano. He was fighting for everybody. He was going for it. You could see what Jesus adds to that Arsenal side compared to Victor Gyökeres. I mean, even when Merino was starting ahead of Gyökeres, I think Merino had more impact than Victor Gyökeres. So the way I'm looking at it right now, Gyökeres should probably be second choice, or he should start on the bench. Like I would say this, he should be starting games on the bench. I don't think if Arsenal intends to win the league title, you have City, who has a top 9, who's scoring goals in and out. You got a striker who's supposed to be delivering the goods. At least, okay, if it was that bad, let's say a goal every other 3 games, right? A goal every other 3 games would have been as in a good return. But now you're not even having that. And I think that might just be the difference once again. So for now, I would say, okay, bring in Jesus, let him until Kai Havertz becomes fit. Because I think, yes, when Havertz is fit, my oh my, like we know what he does as in when he leads that line. I mean, last season, yeah, I think, was it when he got injured, then there was a blip in Arsenal's form, right? Last season. So I still think, yeah, Kai Havertz is the main guy in attack because he makes everything come together when he's in that center forward role. But one thing I would say is Arsenal's problem is on the left wing. On that left wing.
The axis, yeah.
Yes, like Martinelli, yeah, in the Champions League, of course, they give you time and space in the Champions League. And apart from time and space, the Champions League is not that physical. In the Premier League, you don't have time, you don't have space to run into, and then it's uber physical, like super physical league. And he's not been able to live up to it in the Premier League. Trossard should be like the starting left winger for Arsenal because there's so much that comes into Trossard's play, so much that comes as in into Trossard's play. So I think Trossard should be starting in that position going forward. But then in the summer or even if in January, I don't know, can Arsenal price
Semenyo.
so many. I think there are so many left wingers that, as in, you're looking at. If you can actually get someone in the left wing position who can probably, in the course of over the season, as in add probably 9 goals, as in for the remaining half of the season, I would say yes, probably that will get you over the finish line. But right now, center forward and the left wing position, it's a problem position for Arsenal.
Okay. So Rory, let's talk about the defense. Early in the season, we were priding ourselves in the kind of depth we had at the back, 2 players in every position, blah blah blah. Everyone was raving about how Arsenal second set of defenders can even start in XFC. But right now, you've got Gabriel out, Saliba has been in and out, Mosquera is out, Calafiori had a suspension. Then we now managed to get Ben White back into the fold of things after he had been out injured for so long, and now he has done his hammy. And how did it happen? Zubimendi lost the ball in Wolves half. They played a crossfield ball, and Hwang Hee-chan was basically through on goal. We even had to thank Raya for that save that he made in that transition play. But unfortunately, White is out. Obviously, with his injury record, but not
For how
optimistic.
long?
And they're going to do some scans
I don't
this
think
week.
it's been released yet. Has
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that was released this week. So the question now is, how much more can Arsenal take at the back in terms of these injuries?
Um, well, I think it's a case of not overplaying them because Ben White has played the last 3 games, hasn't he? In fact, he started in the
All
last
four, yeah.
in the last 3 games. So this was the game, believe it or not, to rest him, especially when you've got Lewis Skelly who has
And you
played
played
left
against
back.
Wolves.
Sorry.
And you played against Wolves, like the bottom
Yeah,
team in
yeah,
the table.
exactly. So this was the opportunity to play Skelly at left back, and then if you wanted to, Timber as the right back. Although I didn't really want him to play because, again, he didn't play midweek, did he? However, like considering the amount of minutes Ben White has had recently, and the fact before those last 3 games he didn't really start. I think it was based on the level Julian Timber was playing at the time. So I think that is probably the case of, Timber being the best right back in the league so far this season. And, Ben White has obviously started the odd Champions League game here and there. But this is the opportunity, like, to give him that breather because, surgeries aren't easy to, and I don't want to sound like an expert because, again, I've never had surgery in my life. But, if you've had surgery, especially when he came back around mid-February, right? He made his first appearance against West Ham, didn't he? That was his first appearance as far as I can remember. You can't expect him, and I know he played pre-season and he looked sharp, but that doesn't mean you start like playing him consistently in this team. Fair enough. Bring him on for a couple of like substitute appearances, and then it's more minutes in the minute. Can't speak in the legs, but at the same time, if that's a grade 3 hamstring injury, he's obviously had one to his knee and now potentially his hamstring. So that's 2 surgeries already. And we've seen this script before with the likes of Gabriel Jesus, who's had like 3 or 4 surgeries already. Like, you could just see it coming with most of these attackers as well. Like Saka. I mean, I think he's 1 more surgery away from being finished, basically, which is sad to say, but he's not been up to scratch so far this season based on that injury he had around, December time last year.
Yeah.
So if he has 1 more, like, I don't know. I really don't know what to say about that one, really. Odegaard, like, how many flipping injuries has he had so far this season? I mean, I could just go through the whole bloody squad, really, because everyone has at least. I mean, Gabriel, I know he's not had surgery because it's a groin injury, isn't it? But you know, he's already had surgery this season with with um with the hamstring
Yeah.
falling apart. And I'm seeing the guy and Declan Rice, who is surprisingly the only one who hasn't had like a major injury in his team, which is, you know, is going to be the inevitable if we don't manage his minutes very well. But, you know, Arteta, you know, he rambles on about the fact, you know, when am I supposed to rest these players and so on and so on. I'm like, I'm seeing the likes of Declan Rice and Gabriel coming on against Port Vale, for God's sake, Brighton. When the game's already done, he brings these players on. The likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Gabriel. Saka came on midweek against Bruges when we were 3-0 up. And I'm like, what is going on? And that's another thing, right? Madueke, who had midweek, didn't even get any minutes. So, I mean, whether that's because he wanted to manage him well, I don't know. Fair dues. But Ben White, who has had surgery already, came back mid-February against Wolves as well. This is the opportunity to flipping, you know, give him the breather. You don't do it. I mean, as well as Saka, like, the guy had an injury at the start of the season. But once again, I know he technically won us the game with 2 of the crosses, but still, he should have had the breather that night as well. Because at the same time, he's not really done anything this season to justify a place over Madueke. Because again, based on his reputation against Wolves, like as I said, this was the opportunity to play Madueke and give him some minutes at least, but he didn't even come on. So I don't know what to say really about these injuries. I'm not buying into this gimmick about the fact it's bad luck, because no one else in this league is having the same amount of injuries as we have currently. And also, why has this been a continuation from last year? It's not like this is the first proper injury crisis we've had under Mikel Arteta. Like, this is carried on from last year onwards, for God's sake. We went from having 0 injuries in the 23-24 season to now basically everyone dropping like flies. So don't be telling me like it's bad luck and shit, because it just isn't.
Yeah.
Especially with the trading methods, and you see players coming on, like Declan Rice, Gabriel, Saka, when the game's already gone. You should give them the night off. Right, bring them on if you have to. I don't have a problem with it. If you want to, you know, wrap up the game, bring on your big guns, whatever. But when the game's already done, don't end up bringing them on. And that's one of the problems, as well as the training methods, which are far too intense. Obviously, I don't watch every bloody training video, but, you know, Kai Havertz, how did he get injured at first? Bro, he's had 2 injuries. That's another one I'm forgetting about. He's had 2 surgeries already this year. So, for one of the injuries, how did he get injured? Oh yeah, from training, pressing fucking Dubai.
In Dubai. That's when that happened.
Yeah, you should be chilling. You should be on the flipping
beach or something.
You should be on the deck chairs, bro. You shouldn't be on the flipping. On the flipping training pitch, you should be relaxing.
Yeah.
But for some absurd reason, he's doing intensity in training. I don't get it. So that's probably one of the problems. Just the fact we are not managing players properly so far this season.
Okay.
We just haven't. Otherwise, this will be happening to every single team if it is bad luck. Because no one else has had these injuries as far as I'm concerned. We can't go from, you know, a year ago where we didn't have any injuries, managed to keep everyone fit apart from Timber and Thomas Partey, and then go this.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Also, a coincidence that one thing that definitely needs to be investigated here. I'm not going to lie to you on it.
All right, thanks, Rory. And you had a little lag, but only about we kind of recovered with you back. So, Ebuka, let's quickly talk about Wolves. The last time they ever won a game in the Premier League was April 26th against Leicester last season. And so far, they're the only team in the Premier League without a victory, two draws, and 14 defeats. I know at this point in time, everyone is just talking about how relegation is setting for them. Do you think they have any more aspirations in the campaign? Or is
No, 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 no. I don't think there's any aspirations. They're already planning for life in the championship. This is the lowest point tally anyone has ever had in English top division history. So we're not just saying the top level, be it the previous.
even Derby in 0708.
Yeah, Derby at this point in 0708, Derby had I think 5 points. Yeah, Derby County had 5 points, and it's the worst. Like in English, no one has ever had 2 points out of 16 games in the top four divisions in English league history at this point of the season. So we can as well say, yeah, they are completely condemned. But I see them getting a result because I think yes, they were applauded off the pitch yesterday, and also I learned Wolves was just the second team not to have considered a goal at the Emirates in the first half of a game.
Oh
As
yeah,
in, that the first team this season. Man City was sorry, that the second team this season. Man City was the first,
yeah,
right?
and I think
So
there's also a record that they said that this was the first time that Arsenal have not even had a shot on target at the
yeah,
Emirates.
the first time Arsenal had not had the shot on target at home in the first half since December 2024.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's crazy, right? It's just crazy that just Wolves that actually came in here and like as it almost caused havoc to Arsenal's title challenge. And I think yeah, belief is on the rise because if you look at the United game, yeah, they scored a goal which they weren't able to score for since as in God knows how long. They
yeah.
scored a goal against United. They scored a goal against Arsenal. And I might as well say as in their next game at home to Brentford, I probably see them winning that one. But that doesn't mean they're gonna survive or escape relegation.
Okay, awesome. So I think we have spent too much time on Arsenal. Let's look at how our other title rivals fared. And Ebuka, I think I'll still stick with you here before we go to Rory. Let's talk about the Blues. You know, there was a time when they had just beaten Barcelona, flying so high, and they also got a draw with 10 men against Arsenal. And, the fans were really buzzing. Then they go to Leeds United and concede 3 goals. Then they play against Bournemouth. Semenyo scored actually, but VAR and whatnot could be Evanilson just being as serious as he has been in recent weeks. And of course, Atalanta in the Champions League. So going into the game against Everton, do you think they had the same level of confidence, as in like bearing in mind that they had some bad run of results, or do you think that the game, with the way they set up, they were good enough to get the win?
This was a game where I knew Chelsea would defeat Everton and it would be a clean sheet. The last time Everton won at Stamford Bridge was, I think, in 1994. It was a game where yeah, Chelsea just kind of like came out on the front foot. Malo Gusto was literally just doing whatever he liked on that right hand flank, like taking Mikolenko to the cleaners.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a surprise that yeah, the first goal came in, and then the second goal, yeah, Pedro Neto, yeah, that finish from Malo Gusto was right up there, like very good finish with his left foot, putting the ball past Jordan Pickford, and then they just decided, okay, you know what, let's just as in operate on this lower gear, and like yeah, just as in a short, we see this game out. Yeah, easy win for Chelsea, routine win for Chelsea. David Moyes, I think, yeah, this apart from the game he won against United the other day, I think against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, I learned probably two draws and as in the others are losses, hasn't really won there. So yeah, it's something where Everton definitely is not going to take anything away from this. And then I think they lost Dewsbury Hall in the first half, which I really think would impact this Everton side if he's not back for their next game, which is against Arsenal. It might just impact them going forward.
Awesome, awesome. So we have Juman on the chat. Juman making a debut on the channel. Good to have you, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. So, Chelsea had Moises Caicedo with a 3-match ban when he had that terrible tackle on Mikel Merino for Arsenal. And so far, Rhys James has been playing alongside Enzo in the central midfield with Palmer back. With the kind of form that Gusto is now showing, do you think he's going to still lose his place in the squad? Bearing in mind that James is the most senior player, or do you think they're going to be rotating the players equally? That's you, Joe.
Sorry.
You get my
again.
question?
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
come again.
We're talking about the fact that, Caicedo has been suspended for the past 3 games.
Yeah.
Come back to the team. But since he has been suspended, Rhys James has been playing in central midfield alongside Enzo,
Yeah.
while Gusto has been playing right back.
Yeah.
With Caicedo coming back, being one of the first 15 players in their team,
Mm.
is it going to be a challenge for James to get his place back with the form Gusto is showing, or are you certain that he's just going to displace it because he's older than him in the squad?
The thing about football is what is a role that you play is a role that you play. Now, it depends on what the coach wants to do because some coaches, when you're in form, they want to always keep you on the pitch and run
Yeah.
along with you in the form. But we all know that James is good. And for him to improvise and play somebody else's wing and fill in that role, definitely what I think might happen is James is the captain. He might come back. Gusto will be Gusto will now come in as a sub, maybe. It will go back to the way it was because
No.
it was just a replacement and Gusto happened to fill in the gap perfectly, which is that's every manager's dream. Because why do you have people in substitutions? What is their role? The
That's
role of
fine.
every sub is to fill in that role when someone is not there.
Yeah.
So
Makes
that
sense.
is the essence of it. So I feel he's gonna go back, and then Gusto will go back to the bench. Him going back to the bench, it's not like you're not playing well, but it's like okay, when the time comes, you will still come in again. That's what I think.
Okay, awesome. So, Rory, another performance for Chelsea, another João Pedro stinker. Do you think, one, they made a mistake letting Jackson go in the summer, and two, should they get the new striker in January?
Well, yeah, I would say they have to because listen, this is what I said on a show like on Saturday. I was like, I think this is where Chelsea fans have to sort of lower their expectations a little bit because you can't expect to be in a title race with the attack after spending £1 billion, which you should be, but you know, the players you have on display, the likes of Neto, you've got Pedro, you've got the geezer they signed from Barcelona, the name I can't pronounce, Garnacho, Pussy Kittens, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, you know, you look at that attack, in fact, not just the attack, but, you know, their whole squad, apart from, I would say, 3 or 4 players maybe, their squad's, like, I would say, bang average. I think the only player capable of, you know, being involved in a title race is Cucurella, Rhys James, Caicedo, and then Cole Palmer. I would say those are the only 4 that could actually, you know, compete for a league title and maybe, you know, are good enough to get them over the line. But the rest of their squad, I think they've still got to upgrade in certain positions anyway, not just the striker. Because, again, they are capable of scoring goals. It's just their defence. And that is, I would say, the be-all and end-all. Why they are so inconsistent. Like, you see, Leeds, when they went there, I would say the occasion got to them and they started, you know, acting all arrogant, Bertie big bollocks, you know what I'm saying, after beating Barcelona and, you know, winning 1-1 against Arsenal. I'm not even going to say draw because, you know, that's how they but yeah, they kind of acted like, well, yeah, we're too good for Leeds here, when really you should be acting professional about it. And, you know, they're thinking they have all this aura about no title race talk. I'll then, discuss it around January, February time. That's their mentality at the moment. We're not in a title race. We'll see where we are about February time, thinking they've got aura, etc. If they are still in a title race come January, February, and then they'll start believing whatever. But listen, I think in terms of the strikers that are available on the market, like aside from Alvarez, perhaps at Atletico Madrid, I don't think there's many that are available currently. They've been chasing Osimhen for how many years now? I mean, in terms of like Jackson, obviously he's more of a João Pedro type, isn't he? He's not necessarily a goal scorer, but his link up play is decent, to be fair, as much as everyone loves to take the piss out of Jackson. I think with his link up plays, it's actually not too bad if you're like partnering him with someone like Cole Palmer, who obviously ended up scoring at the weekend. Obviously, I didn't watch the game because I think Liverpool were on at the same time, so I was watching that game instead. So like for me, I know Sanchez is on some decent form, but they still do need an upgrade in goal. I don't think Robert Sanchez is good enough to lead them to a Premier League title. But, that's just me. Their centre-backs I don't really rate. And then, if they lose Caicedo, who have they really got to play in that position? I actually don't know. Because you started to see, like, without Caicedo, they couldn't really propose much in midfield. Like, they got dominated by, fully enough, their ex-player in Ethan Ampadu. I swear he used to play for Chelsea, right?
Yeah, he used to.
Yeah.
Youth team back in the day.
Yeah, so like for me, I think Chelsea are still like 3 or 4 positions away. In fact, perhaps 6 or 7. I don't know. I just think despite spending £1 billion, that team is still not good enough to chase down a league title. It's good enough to win a trophy though. Perhaps a Conference League, an FA Cup, Carabao Cup, which is fantastic. But it's not good enough to win a Champions League. It's definitely not good enough to win a Premier League for me. Going the full like Premier League season and being consistent, then it's not happening for me.
Okay, so Ibuka, I just went to the stats and saw that Sanchez actually had the same number of clean sheets with Raya. And despite the fact that he's someone that has been trolled for quite a while, he's actually coming up with the goods for them. So the question now is, were they right to let go of the likes of Kepa and Petrovic? And is it a decent goalie for a team challenging for a title? Bearing in mind that he was third choice at Brighton behind Steele and Verbrugge.
So I think Sanchez has greatly improved, right? Like greatly improved. Especially when you look at his time coming from Brighton, he was really good at Brighton. He could play out of the back, and he made those saves for Brighton. And then, last season wasn't so good, but it was great. Yeah, they let Petrovic go and Kepa. Like, as in, no, it's something you can't even debate. But I would say, I think the problem Sanchez might be having is the fact that he doesn't have a settled defense in front of him. Chelsea has always been chopping and changing centre backs, right? They've had Fofana, they've had Chalobah, last season they had Colwill. So the chopping and changing of your centre backs, right? Especially when you don't have like a dedicated 1 and 2, that kind of like impacts like the goalkeeper communication across the defense line. So the chopping and changing that has happened as in so many times, I think it's kind of like affecting them, because I think as in if I remember last season, like towards the ending of last season was the very first time what's his name, Colwill, and I can't remember the name of the other guy. No, it wasn't Chalobah. I can't. Who was the second person who was in?
Okay, Badiashile.
I think so. Yeah, Colwill and Badiashile. So they started the final like 5 games or so, and then Chelsea kept like quite a number of clean sheets, which ensured they made Champions League. They got Champions League football. So when when I took a look at that, I'm like, okay, this might actually be the problem, right? That center back pairing that hasn't been settled. So if should they be able to get their number one and two center back pairing, I think it will make it easier for Sanchez because sometimes he comes up with absolutely ridiculous saves. Like to be
Yeah.
honest, he comes up with saves that you are like, oh wow, like you think you don't have it in him, but you don't. I don't think Chelsea's problem, right, is even the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper is the least of your worries. Chelsea's problem is is having a center forward. That's it. And how many can you find in the market today? Yeah, not a
True.
lot.
Okay. So Joe, let's talk about
Yeah.
Everton for a bit.
I wanted to chip in something
Go ahead, please.
based on what Ebuka and Rora has said.
Okay.
Um, we have same clean sheets with Raya. Sanchez has same clean sheets with Raya, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you check the big teams that Chelsea has played, I don't think Raya has kept a clean sheet, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So
I think
maybe
you
I
might be
can.
right.
Yes,
Check
certainly.
the big teams, the top six. Raya hasn't kept a clean sheet. Compared, Sanchez hasn't kept a clean sheet. So
Sanchez
I
or
think,
Raya.
yeah, I'm sorry, Sanchez hasn't kept a clean sheet.
Okay.
Oh,
So let's
yeah,
verify
that's
that. First
Ryan,
clean sheet,
right?
Crystal Palace. Second clean sheet, Fulham.
Okay,
Third clean sheet, Nottingham Forest.
okay,
Fourth clean sheet, Tottenham.
okay.
Fifth clean sheet, Wolves. Sixth clean sheet, Burnley.
Uh huh.
Seventh clean sheet, Bournemouth. Eighth clean sheet, Everton.
So, comparing him with Raya, according to say they have both clean sheets. Let's wait for the next 6 games till January. Then maybe we
I
can
don't think.
have this.
Yeah, but I don't think it's about as in having
No, no,
what's it called?
I'm
Having
just
a
saying,
straight relationship.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
because
just that what I noticed because yes, you can say both of them have clean sheets, but the intensity of the games which both of them used to get the clean sheets are way different. That's what I just wanted to point out.
so I
Then
would say I would what I would say is I think he's been getting the clean sheet in the games that matter. Like as in when you keep clean sheets against as in the bottom half teams of the table. That's the way I would say as in the clean sheets matter because okay, you wanna be like as in pounding teams away, 3-0, 2-0, 4-0 and all of that. Against the bigger sides, of course, like you expect them to like okay,
To concede,
score a
yeah?
goal.
okay, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
You expect them to score a
taking
goal.
advantage of when it's due.
Exactly. Like
Okay,
you're playing
okay,
City, you're
yeah,
playing
yeah,
Arsenal. It's normal that this guy
yeah,
should score a goal. But when you
yeah,
like just keep clean sheet against the bottom further, that's what
yeah.
really matters.
Okay,
Because you know,
yeah,
okay, in those games, you're definitely not losing them by when you
yeah,
keep a clean sheet. You're
yeah,
not losing. The
Okay.
worst that could
yeah.
happen is
That's the
probably you
point.
draw.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think that's what
Okay.
matters.
Very
Yeah.
good
So
point.
comparing talking about Chelsea's attack, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This was the same Chelsea that we watched at WCW. And everybody was like, wow, man, Chelsea's gonna be on fire.
Oh
See
yeah,
the
the Club
goals.
World Cup, yeah?
Yeah. See the goals. Joe Pedro was flinging outside the 18. He had like 3 goals like that during that competition. Esteve was everywhere. So my concern is this, yeah, about the team. You spend money, you buy players, because you didn't just buy these players, they were playing at a particular level where you bought them from Esteve. Esteve was, I watched him at the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
He was an
What
engine.
else?
Yeah, Gittins in
Dortmund.
BVB.
Mm-hmm.
Dortmund was something else. So when you spend money to get these players here and then something else happens, do you keep spending money to keep bringing in players or you change how you play?
Yeah. Honestly,
Because the thing is, as much as Chelsea is gonna spend money again, if they're not getting a result from the lap was like the latest Vardy coming up.
yeah.
You understand? So if you spend money now by January window and buy more players, hope you might still get the same result
Yeah.
because the player you're bringing in was also doing well like the other players that you brought in.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
For some
my
reason,
own
they have the same.
observation.
Yeah, I
That's
agree
my own
with you.
observation because if you check each and every player Chelsea bought, they were doing. It's not like minus Joe Pedro, which was in Brighton, which yes, he was scoring goals, but not like that. The
Yeah.
other players that Chelsea brought in were not average. you know.
So
So my concern now is going to the market again and buying even the average. It might end up like Isak in Liverpool.
I don't think so because I'll just like kind of like as in want to point something out, and I
Mhm.
think Chelsea over time they've basically been doing what they call player trading. Player trading where okay, get this player who has potential and then sell him off for a profit, right? If you look at most Chelsea signings, Chelsea have not actually gone to the market to purchase experienced players, like players who have been there and have done it for let's say 5 years. These guys have done it for 5 years. Chelsea are no longer going to buy experienced players. So most times they're going to buy potential. And the thing that comes with potential is they could do the job or they could become worse.
Can
That's
I
that's
tell? Sorry to cut you. All the number nines that's played for Chelsea, Aubameyang was experienced.
Mhm.
Morata was experienced. And who again am I going to call
No,
again?
no, no, no. I think it's more like in recent times after Boli took over from Ibrahimovic. I think his own model is more like I'll get a player, use
Yeah,
him for a while, and
I'm
just
talking
sell
of
him off.
bowling model. I'm not talking
No,
of
no,
like
no, no,
pre-model.
no,
Okay,
no. Yeah,
I'm
okay,
bowling
talking
model
of
is
the
different.
Ted Bowley model, not
okay,
Roman, right? So the
Yeah.
Bowley model is basically buy as in return on investment. That's
okay.
actually what
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
understand.
Mm.
So the key thing here, I would say, if Chelsea intends to like I would say compete right up there, let's say top two, top three every season, you need experienced hands. Like you need experienced players. You need experienced goalkeepers. You need experienced centre back. The midfield is superb. Like Chelsea have got the midfield intact. But what all Chelsea needs right now to compete, I would say first of all, they need to start with a centre forward, get a centre forward, get a centre back, and a straight centre back who could play with Colwill when he's back, and probably get the goalkeeper. Then I would say yes. But then you can look at the wingers, but the wingers, yes, they're not there, but still they're chipping in what they could chip in, right? There's this Chelsea team right now, there's a high ceiling to them. And there as well could be a very low floor to this team. So with Chelsea is you just don't know what you're going to get because these guys are still young. They don't have that experience as required. But then, if they could evolve without being sold, I see Chelsea okay competing for as a titles in the next 2 to 3 years. But the thing is like the bowling model, they kind of like want to improve, off you go.
Yeah, fair enough. So let's just take one more discussion around this game. I'll talk to you, Juman, on this. Everton, since the transition from Sean Dyche to David Moyes, there's been a massive upturn in their fortunes. But they have two players from Senegal, Iliman Ndiaye and Ghana Gueye, that have about to leave for the African Cup of Nations. With those two guys leaving the squad, how much of an impact will they have? And do you think whoever they're going to be their replacements will be good enough to do the job? I'm thinking that someone like Tyler Dibling might come in midfield, in right wing for them, or Alcaraz, and someone like Emiliano Bunam will now be the one in central midfield. So do you think the impact of using these two players will be too great for the entire duration of the Nations Cup?
Man, they're gonna feel it, man. Those guys' work rate is mad. They are going to feel it. The people that will come in will try, but the names that you called, I've watched them in DIA. Those guys run like front and back. It's gonna be massive for them. And the funniest part is the replacement is not gonna it's gonna show. I just pray that they survive the rest of the games that they have and then come out with it shouldn't be as bad as it's meant to be, but it's gonna affect their game. It's just like you losing, and the positions that they play are like the soul of Everton.
Yeah,
They're
makes
like the
sense.
soul of Everton. So it's really gonna affect their game. I'm not sure the replacement might fill up. No.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
No.
So, Rory, let's go to you. First things first, this Manchester City kit is an aberration. Like, anytime I see how Manchester City boost play matches, I'm happy we no longer use Puma. They are quite trash. Well, that aside, these guys are back in their chasing form. And how scared are you of them taking over from us and doing what they do best, which is win the Premier League?
Well, it doesn't shock me because I warned people at the start of the season, to be honest with you, that Man City were going to come back this season. Although I did predict them to finish fourth in the league, but I thought they would be a lot closer to this title race due to the fact, they ended up getting injuries at the start of the season, but then they were going to come into their groove second half of the season. To be honest with you, I didn't watch the game because I was watching Newcastle Sunderland
Yeah.
to a point where, it was an absolute snooze fest in the second half. So I decided to switch on the Man City game. And then the second I turn it on, Foden makes it 2-0. And I just switched it back off because I got bloody angry. So, yeah. Listen, I couldn't be asked, really. What I heard on Twitter, Palace had a couple of opportunities. I think they hit the bar like 3 times. So there are signs that Man City can be quite vulnerable, and I don't still think they have that gene of killing teams off. However, I mean, I don't know. I think because of the firepower they've got up front and the fact ours isn't flourishing at this moment in time, it does, give you the side eye that, oh God, yeah, Man City are gonna turn it on second half of the season, and this is them without Rodri, for crying out loud, and that's, I would say, wholeheartedly the reason why they were so bad and they didn't get anything going, because they missed Rodri in their midfield. Now I feel like they've sort of, gotten used to the way they can play without Rodri, and they decided to bring in a midfielder in January. And like you look at the form, Foden, Haaland, like even blooming Cherky as well for 30 million, who's come back from an injury. Like, he's looking like an absolute steal, and that's why I was begging Arsenal to get him in, man. Although, to be fair, under Mikel Arteta, that goal Foden scored, Cherky, there is no guarantee that he passes that to Foden under Mikel Arteta. He probably passes it to the right. Because that is basically what these players have been told. So, yeah, I mean, no one can tell me otherwise that players like, Saka, Gyökeres, etc., if they were in this Man City team, they would be scoring goals. They would be reaching double figures. But, of course, Pep, I know they like to, come up with the narrative that, he has a robotic system, etc. This season, I've seen him let players express themselves, the likes of Doku, the likes of Foden, Haaland. Like, he's just allowed them to have so much freedom, whereas, the difference between us and Man City is the fact, as I said, we don't play forward thinking, if that makes sense, unlike Manchester City. So, yeah, as I said earlier, I think next week's really going to determine what happens in the title race, because we may not beat Everton considering the record we have at their ground. So yeah, like, they have got a couple of winnable games, coming up, with a couple of difficult away trips. They've got Chelsea, who probably bend over for them. They've got Sunderland away, which could be a difficult one. But apart from that, I think, they'll probably win every single game, to be fair. But then again, you can still create chances against them. This is the point. Like, you look at the scoreline and you go, well, that must have been comfortable for Man City. But it really wasn't, from the highlights I watched and from what I heard on Twitter.
Yeah, because if you look at the stats, Crystal Palace had 16 shots, Man City had 7.
Yeah, and that's the difference between the two sides. Palace have obviously got injuries. Man City and the firepower they've got, that is the difference between, Man City and Crystal Palace, and how the results sort of unfolded. Because, the quality Man City have got up front, I mean, they can get away with conceding goals, but as long as you've got Haaland, then you can outscore anyone. So,
Yeah. True, true. Okay, so Ibuka, since November 9th, Matata has not played 90 minutes for Crystal Palace.
Ooh,
Against
Mateta.
Wolves, yes.
Oh
Only
wow.
against Wolves 60, against Strasbourg 62, against Man United he played 90, he scored the penalty. Burnley 64, Fulham 66, Man City 63. So there have been these rumors that he's been nursing an injury, and obviously with Sarr about to be for the African Cup of Nations and Nketiah basically on and off. Where do you think? Do you think Crystal Palace is going to go downhill? Bearing in mind that they've had so many games to play, especially the Conference League, and they've not had the personnel to manage all these competitions equally.
I think when Mateta doesn't play, right, I think there's a drop off from Palace's attacking forays into their position box. Mateta is, I think, since when he arrived in England, right? I think the only players who scored more than him are Haaland and Salah.
And Salah, yeah,
Yeah, Haaland and Salah. So it's, oh, sorry, since Glasner arrived, not since when he arrived in England, since Glasner arrived.
yeah, yeah,
Only
yeah, yeah.
Haaland and Salah has scored more than Mateta. So you can see like the scoring onus lies on him. And yeah, it won't be surprising that he's currently playing with an injury
Yeah,
because
that's what I think too.
yeah, it won't be surprising. And it's just a crazy season, a crazy period. Like this December, Palace are playing 10 games in 30 days in this December only.
Yeah,
So it's gonna stretch them thin. It's I don't see yeah they like it's catching up with them. Munoz is injured. Now Sa was injured, but he came back. You understand?
mhm.
So it's really taking its toll on them. And yeah, the EFL Cup game which they have in midweek against Arsenal, right?
Yes, Arsenal.
I don't know. I don't know how they might want to win that game, right? So because I think the trophies are way more important for them at this point, right? So
Mhm.
I actually won't be surprised if Palace like wins that game because they want to get like those cups. It's way more important to them. So, but the squad is so thin. January is looming. They need to get into the market in January and get two, not even two, I think 3 players minimum if they
Yeah.
want to keep fighting on all fronts. 3 players minimum are required for Palace. One in defense, one wing back who can play on both sides. And yeah, I think in the Europa, they trialed, what's his name? Uche Crisantus.
Yeah, and
They
he
tried
scored.
and he got a goal, he got an assist. There was like real changes, but in defense, they still kept the defense same. So I
Yeah.
think they need a center back in January. They need a wing back who can play on both sides, and that's the minimum that's required for them to continue that push. And probably yes, one of the inside forwards, one of the tens. So 3 signings minimum if they want to compete in all fronts. Yeah, come the second half of the season.
Okay, awesome. So let's have a look at other fixtures, and I'll start with you here, Joe Boy, Joe Man. Sorry. Um, and the slot has been a source of banter for the football world in
Hold on
recent
a
times.
minute, title rivals, and you didn't put Villa.
Oh my, that's true. I need to upgrade them. Yeah, from next week I'll put them as starting rival. That's true. That's true. That's true. Because they've been consistent enough to also be in title race.
Yeah,
Of course.
they definitely
Yeah.
have.
My bad, my bad. Thanks for that reminder. I'll do that. So on the slot, it seems like he's steadying the ship. For some reason they're even keeping clean sheets too much. At some point it was difficult to see Liverpool keep clean sheet, but this game against Brighton and the game against Inter Milan, they have kept two clean sheets on the bounce. He said he was going to have a chat with Mo Salah. Mo Salah still ended up on the bench and had to now come in when Joe Gomez had that injury. So obviously he's going to go for AFCON. In your own opinion, Joe, do you think Salah's time at Liverpool is done?
In my own opinion, it's not done yet, but they're gonna play it out. They're gonna play it out for politics' sake because whatever happened behind is affecting the fans, and the club are more important than the coach and the manager. So what's
Yeah.
happening now is they are trying to manage the situation and then let everything just play out quietly. If Musala is gonna leave, it won't be like an obvious ricochet, like he will come back, everybody will think everything is okay, and then he's gonna quietly leave. So I think they're just trying to just quietly tone down the tone of everything because the thing now took the news, the team. If anything's gonna happen, it shouldn't be now when the team is going through a lot. Salah shouldn't be speaking out now. Even if he's gonna speak out, shouldn't be. So I just think what I think now is Salah might leave, but it won't be in a situationship like he had an issue and then he left. After AFCON, he's still gonna come back and then he's still gonna play some games and then quiet. That's what I just think is gonna happen. Is quietly leave. His mind is made up. His mind is made up. He's just gonna tell him quietly and then he's just gonna leave quietly. That's what I think personally.
Okay.
But
So
it's not gonna.
awesome. Thank you. So what's your take on this same situation? Salah and Liverpool.
I think what's going to happen, Salah is going to AFCON, right, with Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Who's hosting AFCON? Morocco is hosting AFCON. I think in Morocco, as in some officials in Saudi League, would probably hook up with Mo Salah in Morocco and have him discuss personal terms with them. I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And probably after discussing those personal terms with them, the next thing is yes, the Saudi guys are going to reach out to Liverpool because if you take a look at the Saudi league right now, Salah is the biggest Arab footballer in history, as in history. So as in Saudi just can't be there and see okay what's going on and not make an offer. Like I see them having personal terms with Salah during AFCON. That's what I see, and I believe is going to happen. That's where that discussion will happen. Then, when that is done, is the Saudis reaching out to Liverpool? Look, this is £100 million. We're taking Mo Salah. Boom, and he's gone.
Awesome. So
I think
that's
Salah probably
January, not the summer.
no, it's not gonna. It's not gonna happen in the summer. Trust me, it's not gonna happen in the summer. I think Salah might have just played his last game for Liverpool. I think he might have just played his last game for Liverpool. And the team I think would be coming to get Salah is Al Ittihad. You can go mark this somewhere. So I think he's played his last game for Liverpool. He said it himself. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, no, you
I
got
told my
family
wife
to
and my
come.
family
Yeah,
to
to come.
come watch the game in Anfield. He said it. So which means
Yeah.
there might be something going on behind the scenes. So I think, in my personal opinion, Salah's played his last game for Liverpool. And after AFCON, the transfer is going to happen.
Awesome. So Rory, let's leave some Salah talk and talk about the other strikers that they have been having some drama with, Eketike and Alexander Isak. So obviously they signed Eketike first and got Isak afterwards. And you can see clearly that Eketike has been a better pick than Isak. But because of the reputation that Isak has, you certainly be ahead of him in the pecking order. What's your take on that dynamic between the two players and how do you think Spurs should manage them effectively?
Yeah, so before the season started, I think I always thought to myself that it doesn't always work when you have two strikers that, let's be honest, should be starting.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, right, it doesn't always work like that when you've bought a striker for 125 million and, you've absolutely got to start him. No, it doesn't obviously work like that. You play your best team, right? And right now that just does not involve Isak because he's just not really kicked on at Liverpool. And I think that is probably, I don't want to make it about Gyökeres, but it's more shocking when you think about it, considering he's more Premier League proven. It was his choice to go on strike, and furthermore, Liverpool bought him for 125 million. So, it's shocking from his perspective that he's not managed to kick on, whereas Ekitike, who isn't Premier League proven, and Bundesliga players have a tendency of flopping in the Premier League, especially strikers. You look at the likes of Werner and Kunku, Havertz, etc., etc. So, like players from the Bundesliga haven't exactly kicked on, and Ekatike has come in, and to be honest with you, I saw the light in Ekatike before he even went to Liverpool. He was actually my third option for Arsenal. First was obviously Isak, second was Gyökeres, and third was Ekatike. And I remember when Arsenal fans were, saying I had no ball knowledge, etc., when I wanted him over Sesko because they were so fixated about this Sesko situation, and because Arteta wanted him so badly. So, Arsenal fans were giving me the, no ball knowledge, whipping out the, the abusive card. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so far this season, I've been proven right. Like the guy is lethal in the box in terms of his link-up play. Is very good as well, and it begs the question why he's not been starting in every single game. It's like you should have seen it pretty much at the start of the season when I think did Ekatike bag a brace in the first game against Bournemouth? I can't remember it off the top of my head. I remember him scoring, but I don't know if he scored.
No, I think they just won. I think they just won.
Oh, so but still, like he scored in the Community Shield, he scored against Bournemouth, and then he just gets displaced just like that for Isak, only because they splashed 125 million pounds on him, and it wouldn't be a good look if Liverpool benched Alexander Isak, because that's the guy that they were chasing all summer. Whereas Ekatike, let's be honest, he was probably Newcastle's number one target at the time before they eventually went for Sesko, and then they got rejected by Man United by Sesko because Man United were the
preference. Yes.
Yeah. So listen, I rate Ekatike very highly. I think he will succeed at Liverpool as long as they actually play him every week. However, I don't see it happening. I think the moment Isak is fully fit, I think he's straight back into the team.
Mm-hmm.
And, back onto what I was saying about, strikers, forwards, etc. They don't always work who are capable of just starting in the same team, right? You look at Man City, Alvarez and Haaland, one of them eventually had to move on. And that was obviously Alvarez at the time. PSG, they've had so many egos, right? The likes of Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. And believe it or not, they are now a better team than what they were when they had the likes of Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar, etc., etc. Aston Villa had it with, Ollie Watkins and John Duran.
Yeah.
So, like, it doesn't always work with two strikers who are capable of, yeah, exactly. Obviously, Arsenal had it with Lacazette and Aubameyang at the time, and that is what I was thinking. Like, how are we going to mould these two strikers in the team when our defence at the time was absolutely abysmal? I had to watch Mustafi and bloody
Mustafi so high.
And Petr Cech in goal. You know what I'm saying? So, although that did work out with Lacazette and Aubameyang, and Man City won the treble with Alvarez and Haaland. At the same time, like it doesn't really last long, does it? Until one of them eventually gets shipped off, which is not what you want. So, I honestly can't really answer like which one is actually going to end up getting moved on. It might be Ekatike, but if let's be honest, quality and in fact not even quality, but price aside, if we're actually basing this on this season, it would be Isak that should be getting the boot. You get what I'm saying? But I've got a feeling Ekatike is not really going to last long at Liverpool. I did understand the business though, because again they lost the likes of Nunes and Jota, unfortunately. So yeah, I understood the business, but like they didn't need to splash over 100 million, over 200 in fact combined on two strikers. That they didn't need to. So
I agree. So Joe, they had lost 9 games in 12, but since dropping Salah, we've played 5 games, They won 3 of those 5 games. And the 3 games they won, they kept clean sheets in all 3 of them. And of course, they had 2 draws against Sunderland and Leeds. So, is it fair to say that Slot has steadied the ship? And can Liverpool make top 4 at this point? Because I don't think they can challenge for the title anymore.
Is that to me?
Liverpool,
No, to Joe, to Joe.
Liverpool making top 4 is a matter of their defense problem, not even from Salah. And if they've made certain errors over time and then Slot has handled it based on Kanute and Van Dijk's partnership, then maybe they can get to top 4. Maybe. Because even rates, the money they spent on rates is still questions being asked. And
Yeah.
I think Salah being there, Salah not being there, the team is still trying to pick form. It's just that how will I put it now? I don't want to use the exact words that he's being used. Nobody's bigger than the team, but he's been sacrificed. The whole team has not been playing well. So it's not even about Salah.
Okay, so you're in alignment that you have been thrown under the bus, as you rightly said.
I'm just what I would say is they can bench anybody. It's not above him being benched. No, but no player is bigger than the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I'm the player and then I am told to stay on the bench, and then I see people I play better than, I'll wait it out because it's the whole team that is not playing well. So my point I'm trying to address is it's not about it's everybody that has not been playing well. Liverpool has not been playing well. Everybody has not been playing well. So if the coach decides to keep me on the bench and then put somebody else to try out something else, I would watch out and then I will pray it fails so that he will know I'm not the problem. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the question to you now is how many games can you now hold off before you actually voice your comment? Because you are someone that played the last maybe 150 games on the stretch, and you're the one that delivered the Premier League title to them. You're the one that everyone knows is the backbone of the team. So all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
the thing was they didn't complain about him venting out. The problem was that he did an interview which was public. That's where the issue was. Like if you listen to Gerard's comment on this issue,
Mhm.
it happens to everybody. You understand? But how he went about it and the interview, that's where people start having issues with him.
Okay, so is it any different from what happened between Ronaldo and Man U?
We all know that Ronaldo has ego.
Oh, so
If
Salah doesn't
Salah,
have ego.
if no, what I'm saying was if Ronaldo was in Salah's issue by now, we would have seen a Piers Morgan interview. Exactly, you would have seen a Piers
I would
Morgan
actually.
a Piers
Bro,
Morgan
if you
interview
think
by
I'm
now.
listening to
If
Piers Morgan
if
interview, I
if
would
if Salah
rather
was in
shake my
Ronaldo's
hand and
shoes,
clap them instead of listening to a fucking Piers Morgan interview. That's for sure.
you understand? So we know that these things happen, but even Ronaldo is even worse than Salah. That's what I'm just trying to say.
Okay,
You
fair enough.
understand? Yeah. But the thing was, if they had kept him 1 or 2 games, I just feel that the coach, for whatever reason, I don't know, just kept him out of too many games.
No, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
what his voice is
yeah.
saying.
He kept him out of too many games because if you are a player and you are a star player, you can have patience, but not for so long.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough.
You can have patience, but not for so long. So if defense has been sorted out, we don't know how long they can go. Because this Liverpool team we are seeing that played Brighton, I need them to play a team like Aston Villa, Man City, even
Yeah,
Arsenal again.
They played, they
Then we'll
played Villa.
know.
They
yeah,
defeated
but,
Villa.
but, but they won Villa now.
They
They beat
Huh?
defeated
them
Villa.
already. Yeah,
They
they
defeated
did.
Villa
They
2-0.
beat Villa 2-0.
When was this? Is it the recent Villa now?
Yeah,
Yes, Villa has won 9 of their last 10. The game they lost was Liverpool.
it was
So
Liverpool.
football doesn't work like that.
Liverpool were actually
Football
in
does.
their horrible form. They beat Villa and they beat Real Madrid.
Exactly. So
Okay,
No,
so
No, Villa was it this their run that they went unbeaten?
Yep.
Yep.
The unbeaten run was so Villa won 10 of their last 11. The one they
And
lost was
was
to
to
Liverpool.
Liverpool. Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay,
Okay.
fair enough.
So Ibuka, let's talk Fulham. Um, two things they're going to answer for me right now. One is, where did this Harry Wilson's form come from? And two, when all the Niger boys come for AFCON, are they cooked?
Man, Harry Wilson. Remember you? I don't know if you all remember Harry Wilson when he was at Liverpool. He had it in him, you know. And now Harry Wilson is leaving. I would advise Fulham go and get Harvey Elliott from Liverpool. He could recreate your new Harry Wilson. But yeah, Harry Wilson have been in terrific form. I know he was kind of like as in giving the assist. Then before the UEFA World Cup qualifiers, where like he smashed the hat trick
Yeah, against Macedonia.
against North Macedonia. Yeah. So
Mm.
and since then he's just been on fire. However, yeah, when they leave for AFCON, I think in the centre back position, that's where they will have the problem because Calvin Bassey has been immense in centre back. But for Iwobi, I think they could easily just slot in Sasa Lukic alongside
Sander Berge.
Sander Berge. So yeah, Lukic, Sander Berge, Smith Rowe, Kevin might start seeing some games. His Chukwueze is off, so you have Kevin on the left, and then you have Aaron Wilson on the right. So I think I don't think it's going to affect them as much as it should, but it's going to give the other French players an opportunity to show that yes, we can actually do this alongside the players who are going for AFCON. But in that
Mm-hmm.
centre back position, like who's there? Like,
Issa Diop, Cuenca.
oh my goodness, Issa Diop won't know, man. It's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. I think Cuenca and what's his name, Anderson would be better because Issa Diop, my God, he's the Titus Bramble of the recent Premier League seasons.
Yeah, like a boom song, yeah.
I'm telling you.
So Rory, for 7 games in a row, Scott Parker and Burnley have been receiving L's, and it seems inevitable that they are going to join Wolves, even though they are just 6 points from safety. In your own opinion, are they going down with Wolves, or do you think they have what it takes to potentially have a great escape like Allardyce?
Wait, who? Wolves or Burnley? Sorry.
Burnley. Are they going
Burnley.
down with Wolves?
With Wolves.
Yeah. Well, I had them relegated before the season started. In fact, I had them bottom because, again, you look at their squad, and then you look at their manager. I mean, funny enough, right? Against Fulham, who they played at the weekend, when Scott Parker was managing that Fulham team, right, in lockdown, you look at their team and you go, how on earth, right? You look at where their players are now. You look at their team back in lockdown and you go, how the fuck did he get that Fulham team relegated? I think they had
It was nuts.
yeah,
How
I
the
know.
hell would he?
Yeah, it was mad, that team they had at the top. And I'm like, well, if he can't keep that Fulham team up, then how is he going to keep Burnley up exactly? When, I mean, to be fair, I had hope that they were going to stay up because they didn't actually start the season too badly. But now it's just going all downhill. And, you know, Scott Parker's sort of, for me, I think he's going to get the sack at some point in the new year. And they'll get, you know, an interim just to finish off the season because I think this is like, I would say, self-inflicted, right? This is where Burnley, they'll get up to a situation where they will just accept defeat and they'll be back in the Championship next season because, I mean, defensively, I don't actually think they're too bad. It's just like going forward, they're toothless. Like, let's have it right. From what I've seen, they don't really propose much threat going forward. And I think that's one of their biggest issues. Whereas defensively, they're not too bad. I
Yeah.
do rate like a couple of, you know, their defenders they bought in Carl Walker for that exact reasoning, and I think he's been solid for them. Dubravka's been a decent addition for them as well.
Yeah,
But
well, sorry, how big the loss was Trafford to them?
sorry,
Because how big the loss was Trafford to them? Because in the championship, Trafford was like
Yeah.
maybe the reason they had so many clean sheets.
yeah, but again, like that's the championship, isn't it? Right, you look at the Premier League; it's always going to be a different breed. You see how Trafford has started at Manchester City. Like every time he started in goal, Man City have looked shaky. Now that might be, the reality of going from, Burnley to Man City with far more expectations, and you're going to be far more popular than you were at Burnley, that's for sure, especially when you're playing in the Championship. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Even if James Trafford was there, I think Burnley would still be in the ruts they are in currently because they don't really score many goals. Actually, how many goals have they scored so far this season?
18.
18.
Yeah.
So
So they have more goals right now than Wolves, who have 9, and Nottingham Forest, who have 17. They are the
yeah,
third
so
worst team.
yeah,
Sorry, just after what Rory said, right? It's literally a replica of what happened to Fulham when Scott Parker got Fulham relegated. Like it's the same thing. They score goals, but for heaven's sake, they just don't know how to keep goals from going into the back of the net. That's it. That's what it is, right? And just take a look at what Rory said, right? Scott Parker, the Fulham 2021 team. That team had more quality than this Burnley side. Take a look at the team. You had Ariola, you had Kenny Tate, you had Joachim Anderson in that team. You had Mitrovic. Mitrovic was in that team. You had Ruben Loftus-Cheek. You had Tosin. You had Ola Aina, Anthony Robinson, Lookman, who later became like CAF Player of the Year. You also had Mario Lemina. How the hell, with such quality, did Scott Parker get that Fulham team relegated? And now he's managing a team of lesser quality.
Yeah,
So
so it's for sure.
definitely, they're going
yeah,
to.
they had. Don't forget Lookman as well. They had him.
Yeah, they had Lookman. That season they got relegated.
Crazy. Okay, so now let's talk, Joe. Let's talk about Nottingham Forest. Obviously, beginning of the season, they had some drama with Nuno. He brought in Postecoglou, and Postecoglou was just terrible in every sense of the word. But under Sean Dyche, I think they've kind of found some kind of form. Even though they have not been fully consistent, but at least they've been getting a lot of wins. Did you expect that before this game started, they would be defeating Tottenham by 3-0?
Nope.
So what went wrong for Spurs in the game?
I think I don't know what's wrong with Spurs because Spurs are just like today they are up, tomorrow they are down. Actually, I didn't even watch the game actually, anyways. But seeing the scoreline, I was devastated. Like Tottenham didn't even get a goal after playing what they played over the weekend, over the week with
Brentford.
yeah, that they had a clean sheet. And then with the defense line that they had before, we could say it's injury, but now the whole defense line is back.
Yeah.
From Porero to Romero
Van der
to
Ven.
Van der Beek to I didn't watch the game, so I can't really say. But it's an ISO. Like, okay, even if you didn't score, but the defense line that they have, with the quality that they have, it's shocking. Seriously, it's not something I expected to see. This kind of scoreline, 3 goals, not replied, 3-0 Tottenham.
Yeah.
Um,
So Ebuka, they were 17th under Postecoglou. At some point in this season, they were like third, and everyone were raving about how good Frank is and whatnot. But right now, they are currently 11th. It's very evident that they're not going to make Europe this season, right?
They could cup competitions.
Ah,
They could. I don't know if they're still in the EFL, but yeah, they're still the FA Cup. But I really don't see them like improving. It's still the same Spurs side that
No,
I
no,
think in terms
no,
of quality.
sorry, they're not in the EFL. They lost to Newcastle.
Oh, they lost. Okay, so that's good to know. So I think in terms, this is literally the same side that were bad last season with a couple of few signings like Javi Simons,
No.
Olumuwani,
Yeah.
Joao Pania. I think those are the
Kudus.
players who came in, right? So, but the core of that same sports side are still the same. And you have two different managers. You've got Postecoglou, you've got Thomas Frank, and for some reason they just can't get a tune from these players, right? Uh, for Thomas Frank, it's that conundrum where you see a manager doing very well in a club that has as a smaller or little resources, and then goes to a bigger club where they have larger resources, where they play so many games. You've got to play midweek, you've got to play in the weekends. You don't have that room for recovery, and it's now up to the manager to see, okay, how well can I utilize this squad that I have for these two competitions? Because I read somewhere that Thomas Frank loves managing one game a week because he gives his team time to recuperate, and that was one of his keys to his success at Brentford. But right now at Spurs, where there's always, as in a game every midweek,
Every
that time
midweek,
for
yeah.
recuperation is no longer there. So how does he manage that? And we can see right now he's not been able to.
Yeah.
Today, Spurs recorded, I think, 0.37 xg, which is at top. So Spurs, in terms of xg, the lowest xg recorded in the Premier League so far.
Yeah, they have been the
Spurs,
ones, man.
yeah, Spurs are. I think they've got 5 of the top 10 lowest xg in the Premier League this season.
Yeah,
Terrible. It's absolutely terrible. How they're
I
gonna
agree.
fix it, I don't know, but I think it starts with what they're doing at the training ground. Because if you are recording low XGs as in every single time, it means the manager definitely isn't getting something right.
True.
If this continues, and
Did they be
I
sacked?
think, yeah, if this continues like the league form, if it gets bad that they drop into the bottom half of the table, that's like from 14th and lower, right?
Yeah.
And then they kind of like just squeak through the playoff, the UCL, they make the playoffs, and in the FA Cup, it could all go south for Thomas Frank. It could all go south for Thomas Frank. I'm telling you. And if results like this continue, they will keep up with him for much longer.
Yeah, and it's funny part that the FA Cup they are playing Aston Villa.
Now, maybe
So,
oh, it could get worse. That's it. I
yeah,
think it could pretty much get worse for Spurs.
yeah. Okay, so Rory, the time where Derby 1-0 for Sunderland, and right now only Arsenal and Sunderland are the team that have not lost at home in the Premier League after 16 games. Obviously it was a vote mad own goal, quite a ball fest as you rightly said. But how impressed have you been with Sunderland this season? Currently seventh place. No one expected them to be in the top half of the table even at this point in the season.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with them, to be honest. And it's refreshing to see, actually, that we may not see, in fact, we won't see all three blooming promoted teams go straight back down. So, listen, it may be only for one season. They may do a Sheffield United the following season because, they finished ninth, exceeded expectations, and then they went straight back down, didn't they, the following season, and they were arguably the worst team in the league. So that may be the case, but at this moment in time, even if it is for a season, I think we must keep Sunderland in the Premier League. They may not be the greatest away from home, and they may have picked up a couple of shocking results, but that's expected from a newly promoted side.
Yeah,
However, when you look at their home form, that is how, right, as a new promoted side, that is how you are going to stay up in this league, basically. Because, if you have a decent home record, you should be using that as an advantage. Although, to be fair, picking up away wins here and there is, a statement, right? But considering the teams like the Burnley, Leeds, who are also using their home form as their advantage. Sorry,
Yeah.
I think Sunderland, you've got to give them credit. Like they've beaten Chelsea already away from home. They drew to Arsenal.
Mhm.
They, I believe, came back against Bournemouth from 2-0 down, or 2-1
Yeah,
down?
yeah,
3-1?
no, from 2-1 to 3-2. No, 2-0,
Yeah,
no, to
2 nil,
2-0,
2
2-0
nil.
down, 2-0 down to 3.
yeah,
Bournemouth,
it
yeah,
was 2-0
Bournemouth
at the time.
2 goals ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you got to give them credit, and I knew they were going to win this game as well because it was their first derby in 9 years in the Premier League, right? I know they played each other in the FA Cup, I believe, but in the Premier League they've been waiting for this moment, and considering Newcastle's away form all season, I did not think that Newcastle were going to get anything from this game. I thought the occasion actually got to them, and they folded under pressure. I don't think, to be honest, it wasn't a great game to watch. Yes, it was feisty at times, but in terms of real quality, there wasn't really much, was there? I mean, Newcastle barely created anything, and Sunderland's only goal or their only shot on target came from a header by bloody Voltemade. I mean,
Well,
I know what it is
Voldemort.
with own goals.
Yeah,
It may
they're not
actually
good
come to a
actually.
point. Say again.
They're not good actually.
Yeah, it was an own goal, but I think it's got to a point where we may have to nominate own goal for Player of the Month because some of the own goals I've seen lately have been ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, Baltimore, I do rate him, but today he was moving like Wurzel Gummidge, bruv. Just awful today. Like the goal he scored, it was almost like it was intentional. I mean, I don't know where he was aiming. He was unattended and just nodded it in past Ramsdale. So you got a feel for him there, but at the same time, like
What's up, bro?
when you watch it in real time, it just gets funnier every single
Yeah.
time you watch it back.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
So you can't help yourself but laugh at that. But Sunderland deserved the win, and I've been really impressed with how they've settled into the Premier League, considering this is their first season in the top flight really in 9 years. So they deserve credit for that 100%.
Awesome. So, Joe, we've actually witnessed the debut of Yohan Wissa for Newcastle, and of course, he was not called up by Congo DR for this AFCON, which means that he's going to work on his minutes and finally, take a claim for the first team berth. Based on the experience he has shown from his time in Brentford, do you think he's going to be displaced with Voldemort as the number one striker in Newcastle?
He's gonna do well, but I think it's gonna be more like pairing. I don't know how I think they might pair them both. I don't know how. I don't see them. He'll do well in Newcastle. He'll do well in Newcastle. He has this. I've watched him when I watched him in Bradford, and then he was a kind of player that could adjust. He could always adjust to situations whereby he could score out of nothing. He would do well in Newcastle.
Okay,
He'll do well in
awesome.
Newcastle. Yeah.
Awesome.
And the way Newcastle built their system, I don't know if Voldemort is that good or is the way Newcastle built their system, but the way Voldemort picked form, they built a system to kick off the attacker. That was what actually helped when Wilson was there. You could see Wilson did well. Even what's his name?
Isaac.
Isaac. Sorry, what's the other guy's name that left Arsenal? What's his name? Willock.
Oh, yeah, Joe Willock. Yeah, yeah.
Willock, Wilson, Isaac. Now Voldemort. If you check the Newcastle system, he has a way of really giving the strikers numbers.
Okay, fair enough.
Wissa will do well.
Awesome. So, Ebuka, at least this one should come close to home for you. Anthony Elanga, former United player who went to Nottingham Forest, cooked a bit there. Were in 22 games, no goal yet for Liverpool, for Newcastle, and right now I think he has displaced Jacob Murphy in the side. Murphy, who was a monster for them last season. So the question now I want to ask you is Elanga right to take Murphy's spot? And do you think he has done enough in signing for that 55 million pounds that they paid for him?
No, definitely. I knew when I saw when before that transfer fee, I knew Newcastle overpaid. They were desperate because as in so many of their sign, they were just desperate to get the signing in. And then when they paid 55 million for Elanga, I was like, okay, wow, okay, this guy just threw away some as in a whole load of money because yeah, Elanga played at United wasn't so like he was just as in above average. You understand? Just above average. They went to Forest. I think he had a season, 9 goals, 6 assists, and then he shell out 55 million. That sucks. However, I would say when it comes to Newcastle, the squad, that Newcastle squad is really, 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 really primed for 4-4-2
Yeah.
because you it's really, really
Yeah.
primed for 4-4-2 because you can then have a scenario where you have Guimaraes and Tolani in midfield. You could have Guimaraes and Joelinton. You could have Tonali and Joelinton just
Yeah.
passing those two. Then on the flanks, you have Gordon. You could have Elanga, and then the big man, little man up front, Wotamada and Wisa. I think it is prime for 4-4-2 football. The question is that a route where Eddie Howe would want to go to? But if they should line up in a direct 4-4-2, I could see goals and goals and goals from this Newcastle side.
Awesome, awesome. Rory, what the hell is happening at Aston Villa? I remember when the season started, they had not scored in 4 or 5 games. The entire universe was trolling them. I remember Ibuka feeling like a statistician. Ibuka said, I can remember his words in that stream. 92 teams have scored more goals than Villa, yidi, 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 yada, yada. Now in 17 games, they've won 15. I don't even think any other team, maybe minus Bayern Munich or maybe PSG, is as good as they are right now in Europe. Will this form continue?
Yeah, I mean, it pains me to say it because obviously Emery, every single time he plays against us, after last week in particular, always has our number. But you know, I have to say, I think Villa are probably the best team, well, the most informed team in Europe, I would say, right now because of the form they're in. Because again, I think the job Unai Emery has done, like from not scoring a goal the entire month in August, September, etc., to now winning. What is it again? Is it 10?
15 and 17.
Jesus Christ! I mean, it's
That's
ridiculous
mad.
when you deep it because
That's mad. That's mad.
you know, like you would think that this is Man City, right? Man City, like back in their prime, like you've not really seen them do these sort of. Well, you probably have, but you know, not even Liverpool can do this. Not even Arsenal have done this before. Like, and considering like it is Aston Villa, like let's be honest, like, they've got good players, very good players, but you know they're not world beaters.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think Aston Villa are a trophy away from Emery's sort of cementing, his status at Aston Villa. For me, I think if
I
he
think
wins
he,
that
I think he
Europa
has. I think he already has cemented his status at Villa.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I think to like
Well,
properly cement his legacy at Aston Villa, I think he needs to win a trophy
Yeah,
because
because
again,
yeah,
like,
I think he really messed up not winning the conference 2 seasons ago. That was a big
yeah,
one.
but like in the Europa League, that's his bread and butter. So if he
Right?
wins that, I think he goes
It
down.
happened for us. What an annoying man, right? He left us and went to Villarreal and won it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. So he's proved that he can win a Europa League with like Premier League rejects, isn't it? Like bloody Juan Foyth, Francis Coquelin, um, Parejo, like
Mm-hmm.
Etienne Capoue, like you know all these players they had back in the day, and then Emery still won them a Europa League against Man United as well. Who, well, let's be honest, that's probably the last team they had that were actually serious, and they didn't even win anything. So,
True.
like, I think Emery definitely deserves credit the way, like in his first season, he got them 7th. Then the following season, he got them 4th. I can't remember where they finished last season. Was it 6th?
Sixth.
No, six,
Yeah, it
six.
was 6th.
Yeah, after you lost in Old Trafford, you finished sixth.
Yeah, they lost to Old Trafford, and you could say they got shafted in that game. And if it wasn't for that decision, I think they probably would have got top 4 again.
Yeah, probably.
They probably should have won the FA Cup, though. I think, that
Oh, yeah,
again,
against Palace, they lost in the
yeah,
semis.
against
Yeah.
Crystal Palace, I think that was embarrassing for them, arguably their worst performance under Emery. But I look at some of their players, and they're just a unit, Like defensively, Matty Cash has been just flipping unbelievable this season.
Yeah.
You got John
Rogers.
McGinn, Morgan
Rogers is crazy.
Yeah, it's
Rogers
ridiculous.
is crazy, man.
It's ridiculous because I've been hearing a lot of Villa fans, wanting cash out of Arsenal, Aston Villa. So it's mad, like the rejuvenation he's had at Aston Villa. To be fair to him, they've got John McGinn, Morgan Rogers, who was stinking up the gaff at the start of the season, is now looking like the Morgan Rogers from last season.
Last season that we knew. True.
Like I was eager for Arsenal to go and get him in the summer. I think it'll be still perfect to this day as our left wing position. However, like the goal he scored, he probably doesn't shoot from there because of Arteta's dictatorship. But again,
Yeah, I did that.
yeah. I mean, you got Daniel Marlon, who's not. I don't even think he's starting for Villa right now. I think he's one of their top scorers, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
And
he's
he's
doing very well.
not even getting a start in this team. They signed Jadon Sancho, who
Yeah, no, but the funny thing is that how can they have this good form when Watkins is now playing rubbish?
Yeah, like that's
It's
really
incredible. It's incredible. Like I just can't believe
You,
it.
you see the thing about football, yeah? That's the thing about football. If everyone is playing,
that's
sometimes
great,
your mistake might not, or if you're not even informed, it might not really be as bad as. That's why it's a
Yeah.
team game.
No, I mean,
That's why sometimes that's the beauty about football.
like Flipping Watkins has scored only 3 goals in 23 games this season. Watkins. The Watkins
And he's
that
still
we
gonna
have-
play full 90 minutes next game.
Okay, so Joe, let's talk West Ham real quick. When Nuno came, there was this buzz, right? That he was going to bring them back from the trenches because obviously under Graham Potter they were going down for sure. But has he done enough to stabilize them? Because the results haven't really shown that they are there. Obviously, they are still flirting out above relegation waters. But do you think he has what it takes to keep them up?
One thing I know that people make mistakes about is you carry a manager that's been with the team for 2, 3 years, 4 years, average players, and then they've known each other, and then you carry him and then put him in another team and then you expect magic to happen. It's not possible.
So are they going down in your opinion?
I said they will still struggle. They will still struggle because you have Bowen, you have good players there. You have what's his name
Paqueta.
again? Or what do you call it again? You have good players there, but it's playing to one thing is how they play and how the manager want them to play. And they've not been in form for as long as how long? Their defense is in shambles.
Yeah.
For any good personally, I think for any manager going to any new team, the first thing you should work on is your defense. If your defense line is still conceding goals, you'll be playing 3-2 like today. You'll be playing 4-2. You'll be playing 5 and all that. If your defense line is not stable, you would still suffer as much as you can suffer. The best you can do is to try and score as higher than what you're conceiving.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay, Buka, so let's go to the last Premier League game, which is Leeds and Brentford. I didn't expect this to be a draw, but a certain Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who we all troll as one of the worst strikers in the Premier League, has scored 4 on the bounce. Do you think this streak can continue? Or is it just a flash in the pan?
Yeah, we know though. There's something about Calvert-Lewin. If you feed him, he's going to score, right? And there was a crazy time as in during the summer transfer window where they said United as in we're looking at him as for a free signing.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, at least it won't be bad to have him as third choice striker, like because he's done it before, but then he tends to go on these long streaks of not scoring, and then he comes back to it. So he's a very, very streaky striker.
Yeah.
And yeah, 4 goals on the bounce. And when you consider, as in some of those goals have come against City,
Chelsea,
Liverpool,
Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah.
yeah, Liverpool, Chelsea, you're like, wow, do you understand? And the fact he's a player who thrives on confidence, right? That's Calvert-Lewin. So
Mhm.
the fact that he scored right in those games, yeah, I see him scoring, like as in going forward. But the thing is, you've got to feed him. And then what leads they've got like as in Jaden Bogle, who yeah, he's very good with his crosses. Bogle, Goodmanson, in their fullbacks, very good as in with putting the ball into the box where Calvert-Lewin can feed on it. And there's also Noah Okafor who's kind of like improving. Yeah. Um, but with Leeds, I kind of like still mark them like they're gonna be relegated, but there's been huge improvement in the last couple of games. And I mean, against Liverpool, against City, they got 2 goals. They defeated Chelsea, draw against Liverpool, now away, draw against Brentford. I think their next game is Palace. And yeah, the way I'm looking at it with Palace, yeah, Palace might just like leave Elland
Palace
Road.
is angry.
No. They're gonna live. They're gonna live with nothing at Elland Road. I'm telling you the truth because the fixture pile up is just too strenuous for Palace. They're playing Arsenal in the EFL Cup, and then which is I think away from home, right? In
Yeah,
London,
Emirates.
Emirates, and then 2 days later, if 2 days later they're going to what's it called? They're
Conference,
going
play
to
coups.
yeah to West Yorkshire to face Leeds. So two away games in a row for Palace. I think yeah, Leeds are probably gonna like get those points against Palace, and Calvert-Lewin is going to continue scoring streak.
Awesome. So Rory, in Brentford, they finally found a striker that is a replacement for Ivan Toney in Igor Thiago. He's the only person that is on double figures in terms of goals behind that robot called Haaland. But yes, he had done some start padding with penalties. In his last 3 games, he had found goals hard to come by. So is this going to be like a mini drought for him, or should we just expect that at the end of the campaign he could be the next Chris Wood that could finish with 20 goals this season?
I think what it is with Igor Thiago, I think, yeah, he scored a couple of penalties here and there, but considering he scored that amount, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he had an ACL injury last season, so I think he still definitely deserves credit.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't really watch much of the game, really. I saw, parts of it, but again, like, I didn't really watch much, but from what I've seen, I think, Jordan Henderson, although it's a debate to be held about whether he still should be in the England squad, but, I think he's, so far this season, he's got to be one of the most underrated signings in the Premier League, Like, we talk about Granit Xhaka, etc.,
Yeah.
Ekatike, Voltmarder, whoever, right? But, Henderson Loki's been going under the radar. I think he's been excellent for Brentford.
Yeah.
And he's really, stamped his authority on that Brentford team, especially when they're a young side as well. And I think bringing him in is like, I don't know, whether it's because he played for Sunderland, but, it just sounded right that he was going to be a Brentford player at some point. Towards the end of his tenure, pretty much as a footballer. But he got the first goal, and then Calvert-Lewin, who, to be fair, I don't really want to speak of because it scored more than our strikers so far this season. Yeah, I think he scored 4 in a row in consecutive games. So he's on a bit of form lately, to be fair. But I think that's a decent point for Leeds, to be honest with you, considering they are in a relegation battle, and Brentford's not an easy place to go. They have picked up points against, the big teams in particular. So I think a point away at Brentford for them is actually not too bad considering the circumstances and the position that Farker was in at the time. Like, he was on the brink of getting sacked and he's picked up a couple of decent results lately. So fair play to him.
True, true. So, Amibuka, let's talk about the outstanding fixture. These are your boys. You host Bournemouth tomorrow night. I don't know what's going on with the Monday games you guys keep getting and all that. But are you confident about this game?
Nah, definitely not. Because no. Let me tell you why, right? Because one, United, especially going into the second half of games, we lose intensity. And one thing about Bournemouth is that in second half of games, that's when they become more intense. And I think it's the intensity that's probably gonna ache this one for Bournemouth. And the second thing is, as in United's manager, Amorim. Amorim is I think he's the only manager currently in the Premier League that has made substitutions, and none of his substitutions has actually impacted games in terms of scoring a goal or giving an assist. Nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you. So he's the only manager. Every other manager has been able to do substitutions that have impacts on games. So looking at this game tomorrow, I just don't see United winning this one.
Is Semenyo back?
Yeah, he is.
Semenyo is back.
Yeah. So I don't see United winning this one. I think it's either going to be a draw or Bournemouth is going to take it. But like I say, in the intensity, it all depends on who sustains that intensity for 90 minutes. Because if you want to defeat Bournemouth, you have to run for 90 minutes. You have to because they will keep coming at you. They are going to come at you as in every single time. And I think on the bench, that's where Iraola is probably going to as an outmaneuver Ruben Amorim. He's going to be on the bench.
Awesome. So it's time for us to talk about our surprise of the week. Joe, you're new on the channel. So what we do here typically is we talk about the thing that surprised you in the game week, whether it's the result, whether it's the performance. Like me now, my surprise was actually the Nottingham Forest 3-0 against Spurs. So I'll start with you, Ebuka and Rory, so that Joe can get a hang of it. So Ebuka, let's start with you. What's the surprise of the week?
My surprise of the week. I would say my surprise of the week is Arsenal Wolves. Yeah. It was Arsenal was supposed to win, but that performance was so bad. I was actually shocked that Arsenal could play that bad.
Yeah,
and then getting bailed out by 2 own goals. Right? Yeah, I'm telling you, getting bailed out by 2 own goals. So I actually thought, you know what, Arsenal is gonna kind of smash Wolves into the ground. But the fact that 2 own goals, it was surprising to say the least. Really surprising.
Okay, so Rory is about to leave, so you can just bless us.
Yeah, I gotta go, lads. I do apologise.
Okay.
Do you want me to? I'll quickly say who my surprise of the week is. Actually, just real quickly. What is it this week or?
No, this week. This game week. This game week.
I'm trying to think now. Do I really have to say my club? Really, I'm trying to.
I don't really have to say my club.
Yeah, I don't really want to say my club, but it has to be right.
Yeah.
I'm expecting bloody 4-0, but at the same time, I wasn't exactly surprised because I was saying to you during the week, AT, that it won't surprise me if Arsenal end up. I don't know. I think probably. Chelsea won, Liverpool, Spurs just being Spurs. Yeah, I might have to go with Arsenal,
Yeah.
But yeah, bless you for having me on, by the way. I need to obviously bounce because it's 10 p.m. and yeah, here you go, what I'm saying. But
yes, sir. Thanks for always being in channel, bro. Always good to have you.
Yeah, appreciate it, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah. So Joe, your surprise of the week?
I would say I have 2 surprises of the week, if it's allowed.
Please go ahead. Cook.
The Arsenal game was, oh my god, it Yeah,
Terrible,
Ebuka
yeah.
said everything out of my mouth. Like it's Arsenal's first shot on target, 68 minutes.
Yeah.
That's mad. In your home. Like
Yeah.
Against the bot against the
even
bottom
Yeah.
if
side.
even if we are playing Real Madrid with
Yeah.
Barca together, first
That's
shot
bad.
on target, not to score, first shot on target, 68 minutes. No, 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 no,
Against
no.
the bottom team. Don't
No,
forget
no,
that
no, no,
part.
no, 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 no. I'm still trying to understand what happened. Maybe I'm gonna watch the match again and understand what happened because even
Uh,
the
okay,
subs the
I see
lineup.
that you actually like torture. Why would you watch that again? Like,
As in, I'm just trying to know when you give benefit of doubt. Like maybe there's something that happened that
How you
we
mean?
did that made that thing happen. You understand? But my
yeah.
second surprise of the week, so that we can go offline, is Sunderland Newcastle. Sunderland is a good team, no doubt, but I didn't expect Newcastle not with the Newcastle team that I know not to have even if it's one goal. That was a shocker for me. That was
Awesome.
Bro,
because
that's the time
the
where derby, bro. And let me give you
because
some information, right? Sunderland, Newcastle. Sunderland have not lost their last 10 league attempts against Newcastle. So,
no, no, I'm not talking about even winning. I'm talking about for them to score one goal. Like
yeah,
so,
but Newcastle has,
Sunderland is good though. Sunderland is good.
yeah,
No, no,
but
no.
Newcastle has been terrible. Like, in terms
The
of
way they
scoring
have
away
been
from
very
home,
bad,
I think
actually,
Newcastle
yeah.
is the worst. They're among the bottom four in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah.
scoring away from home. Like, they,
Yeah.
they, they find it difficult to score away from home. So,
They're very, very
and now you're
terrible
going
in
to the
the
Stadium
way.
of Light. It's a time where derby. I definitely expected Newcastle not to score.
I agree.
Uh,
Okay, so let's look at the injury watch. Basically, there are not much injuries this week, but we had Kieran Disby Hall, we had Joe Gomez, we had Ben White, Kamada, and Dan Bond. So if we can among these ones, which one had the biggest impact to you? KDH?
It's definitely going to be Dewsbury Hall. Oh, with their players going off to AFCON, he's going to be
Yeah.
missed. He is going to be missed. I hope for Everton, like he's not out for long. Like it's something that he can come back to because if you take a look at the options Everton have, if he's away, if India is away, and then Gay, I mean, who would come in? You could probably have Charles McNeil. You could have McNeil
Yeah,
for
but you can
Dewsbury Hall.
you can do Grealish to the middle, then bring
No,
McNeil
he
on
can,
the
no, Dibley plays from the right, right?
yeah.
And yeah,
Dibbling
Dibley
is
plays
for
from the
Ndiaye, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay, McNeil can actually play in the
That's what I'm
middle
saying.
actually.
Yeah, it's McNeil. It's most likely McNeil for Indiaye, but for Dewsbury Hall, who is it gonna be? That's the question.
Yeah,
Who's it
probably
gonna be?
Alcaraz.
Yeah, probably Charlie Alcaraz. But
Yeah,
it's gonna be a huge loss if he's out for long.
true. Juman,
um, Dan Bond for me because he's like he holds that defense like he's like the father. I might be wrong. It's like with size and everything. It's like he's like he goes on nods, goes on goal scoring during their corner kicks and all that, for Newcastle, and everything. So I
Mhm.
feel it's like a key figure. That his presence in the defense says a lot. So
true. And
yeah,
it's so that we have Ben White as the picture here, but he's not going to be that. He's not going to be missed as much. It's quite crazy.
I'm not
Yeah,
gonna miss that much. But the challenge with Ben White now and MLS is experience. MLS is carded easily.
yeah,
He's
true.
carded easily. So that's just what it
No,
is. Because Ben White he's someone that plays with he's an intelligent player, plays with experience.
yeah, I
Intelligent
agree.
players with experience. So.
Okay, so let's look at the Premier League table real quick after game week 16. In the bottom half, you see how the regulars, Wolves and Burnley doing their thing. West Ham right now are just 3 points short of relegation. But Nottingham Forest had a win that really helped them, took them to 18 points. Quite interesting to see Nottingham Forest with 3 wins out of 5. Bournemouth, who was third at some point, are slowly creeping down to 15th, which is crazy. And Tottenham, of course, with their bad form, they are also like around 11. But it's quite funny, Ebuka, to see that Newcastle have basically been around there for quite a while now, despite this run of results. What do you think is going? What do you think the issue there?
No, I mean for Newcastle, it's what it happens every season, right? This season they make use of football. The following season they finish out of the European places. So it's just a tune that they've had as in from under Eddie Howe. And I expect that to continue. I don't expect them to make Europe this season, right?
Yeah.
Next game is against Chelsea. Probably looking at that game ending in a draw. And after that, they've got Manchester United at Old Trafford. So if Newcastle don't get results in probably their next two games, they might see themselves like closer to the relegation places than the European places. But
Interesting.
yeah, notwithstanding, it's just expected. That's Newcastle for you. Being Europe following season out of European places, and I expect that to continue this season.
Awesome. So let's look at the top half. We have Brighton in 10th, Everton in 9th. So the Everton versus Arsenal game is going to be very, very intense because you can see that Man City and Aston Villa have very good home fixtures next. For Arsenal, we have to really contend with that. Chelsea are fourth, but it's interesting. Liverpool are actually they're not far away from top four as I thought. Just 2 points. Obviously a good run of results. Crystal Palace seem to be going down. This loss by spiral was, if they lose at Elland Road, to them will be a challenge. So, Joe Man, what's your take on Sunderland in seven? Do you think they're going to come down to the bottom half much later?
Nah, Sunderland not going to come down. Nah, the
Or,
way Sunderland is playing. You know the funniest part, yeah? I might be
yeah,
wrong, yeah, but you see Newcastle, Tottenham, Everton. What I feel personally is they prepare for the big teams. If they're playing Man City, Arsenal, they prepare for the big team. You watch the game, you watch the intensity, you watch how they play, you watch how they're playing. When you see them play the younger, smaller teams, you're
Fulham and
like, is this the
yeah,
team that played Arsenal, played Man City last week? Like, what's going
yeah,
on?
yeah,
But
true.
why I see Sunderland not going down is they came with an orientation from championship, and I think they kept that intensity all through their games. Whether it's a big team, it's a smaller team, there's a particular way they go with the game as if it's their last game of the season.
Yeah,
So I
makes
don't see
sense.
them. I don't see them going down. They might lose a game, but even when they lose a game, you still see that intensity that they play with. So I don't see them going down. If anything happens to Sunderland this season, they'll finish in top the top half of the table.
Okay, awesome. So now we're going to round up with our predictions for game week 17. So, Joe, what we do here is that I'll call a fixture and you will just say the score line, with the
Okay.
home being the first side and the away being the next. So, Ibuka, let's start with you. Newcastle, Chelsea.
So for that game, I think it's going to be a 2-all draw, 2-2 draw.
Okay. Okay.
Joman,
Same thing.
Ibuka,
Draw.
Bournemouth, Burnley. No, but Joman, you need to give me the score line because
No,
actually,
you have to give the score line.
Okay, scoreline, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
because I actually record the predictions and
Okay.
we'll talk about them
Okay.
after in the next
Okay.
stream.
Same 2-2 draw. You just took it out of my mouth. Same 2-2 draw.
Okay, awesome. So, Ibuka,
Yeah.
Bournemouth, Burnley.
Smashed. Burnley gonna get smashed, especially Bournemouth loses at Old Trafford. I think it's probably gonna be 4-1.
Joman,
2-0.
Brighton, Sunderland, Ibuka.
Okay. Brighton. I don't think Brighton. I think this is gonna be a draw, and I think it's gonna be a 1-all draw.
Joman,
1-1 draw too. One
Man
all draw.
City, West Ham, Ibuka.
Oh, West Ham are bad. They are bad, but they have players that can score a goal against City. I don't expect City to keep a clean sheet, so I'm looking at this. City 3, West Ham 1.
Joman,
4-1.
Ibuka, Wolves, Brentford.
I tip Wolves to get their first win. Wolves 2, Brentford 1.
Joman,
Wolves 1, Brentford 2.
Ibuka, Spurs, Liverpool.
So this is the crazy thing. This game could go like I think this is one of the highest scoring fixtures in Premier League history. This could
Mhm.
end 3-3, could as well end 5-5. But yeah, I'm telling you. So Spurs do not have any midweek exertions. I don't know if Liverpool does, but I think this game is going to be high scoring one, and I think it's probably going to end Spurs 2, Liverpool 3. It's just gonna like keep going south for Thomas Frank. So I think that's Spurs 2, Liverpool 3.
Juman.
2-2.
Okay, so Ebuka, Everton, Arsenal.
I know Arsenal it's gonna be that routine 2-0 Arsenal win. So I don't see Everton scoring. Players are gonna be away. Arsenal is kind of like, okay, you know what, let's get this done in the first half. And it's gonna be 2-0 to Arsenal.
Juman.
Arsenal has a midweek game before this game, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep, they do.
No, they don't. This is actually the first time we're having a break since August.
When are they playing Crystal Palace?
EFL game?
When are they playing Crystal Palace?
After Everton.
After
Oh,
Everton.
I thought it was before Everton.
After
Okay.
Everton.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. 2-0.
Okay,
Two.
Ebuka.
2.
Who for who? Everton?
No, I'm sorry. 1-2.
1-2. Okay, cool.
1-2.
Ebuka, Leeds, Crystal Palace.
I think I think this is gonna be a 1-0 draw. Leeds 1, Palace 1.
Juman.
Matata is back, yeah?
Yeah, he's available, but they are managing his minutes.
And Sa is gone, yeah?
Yeah, South have been in AFCON by here. Or every player, the last players are about to leave are Mbeumo and Ahmad after tomorrow. But from Gameweek 17, there'll be no more African player in the teams.
2-1. Sorry,
Okay.
1-2. Leeds 1, Crystal Palace 2.
Okay, awesome. Ebuka, Aston Villa, Man United.
So Man United have always been beating Villa, right? As long as you can remember. The only time I think Villa was able to beat United was Unai Emery's first game where they defeated United 3-1. But United always has that Indian sign over Villa, no matter how good Villa might be. So for this one, I'm going to say it's going to be Villa 1, United 2.
German.
Might be a draw game. 2-2.
And finally, Ebuka, Fulham, Nottingham Forest.
So Fulham, I think Fulham are due a home win. They're really, really due a home win. So I think it's going to be Fulham 2, Forest 0.
German.
3-1.
Okay, so guys, thank you so much for being part of today's stream. It's always fun to have you guys as part of the panelists. Joe, thanks for making your debut on the channel.
Thank you.
Hopefully,
Thank you for having me
in the future. So, guys, for everyone else on the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. We will see you guys in the next stream. So, till then,
all right.
be safe.
Cheers.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, guys.